Hey collectors! Welcome back to my channel, Duncan the Collector. Today we'll be taking a look at our very first extreme damage figure. Totally radical, dude. Today we'll be taking a look at the Jurassic World Dominion Extreme Damage Roarin Allosaurus. That was a mouthful. I can't wait to get this awesome girl out of the box. As you will soon see, this is a large upgrade if you catch my drift. Now before we unbox her, let's take a quick look at her packaging. The packaging is practically the same as the main lines, but with this awesome new fiery look. It really reminds me of this one scene from the trailer. Otherwise, it's the same with the Rexy, the logo, some more diagrams, some Facts App stuff, the name, more logos, even more logos, the name again, some more diagrams, and the other figures of this wave, which are Velociraptor, Coelurus, and Dimetrodon. Now, let's get this awesome figure out of the box. Already, I'm in love with this figure. Overall, she just looks fantastic. Let's start at her tail. The tip of the tail has some fantastic sculpting work with lots of nice scales and osteoderms. There is no paint on this end, but on this end we do, with this great sandy navy blue. The sculpt of the upper tail is even better with more scales and osteoderms. There's also a lot of scarring. Before we look at her body, let's look at her legs. The legs look fantastic with individually sculpted scales and lots of bumps, and of course the scarring continues. The paint also continues a little bit. Her knees have some great wrinkles and creases. Her calves are very beefy and muscular. Her feet look great as well with some nice scoots, and her dew claws are here as well, and they are pretty nicely done. Her toenails aren't as good. The paint job's pretty great with the very shiny black, but they aren't very long or sharp. In fact, they're very round. But so far the sculpt is otherwise fantastic. Now, let's look at her huge body. She has some more awesome scaling, wrinkling, scarring, and osteoderms. Her overall mass and muscle looks fantastic. Her underbelly looks pretty nice and good with some wrinkling and creases, and there's also a speaker hole. Something you may have noticed is this figure has an awesome marbled effect in her mold, and it looks pretty cool. Before we move on, let's take a look at her scan code for the Jurassic Facts app. For the Allosaurus, it's right between the body and the neck, and if you'd like to scan it, here it is. Now, let's look at her arms. The arms are very muscular with a couple scars and some more scales. She also has little elbows. Her fingers have some scoots and her nails are pretty nice, but unfortunately have no paint. Now, let's end the segment with the neck and the head. The neck has these larger wrinkles and creases, and at the top we have very large protrusions. Her head looks great with massive crests, spikes around her eyes, flared nostrils, and awesome scaling details. Her eyes look pretty great as well. They are pretty glossy, but I think they could have had a little bit more. Unfortunately, her upper teeth don't look as good. They are poorly separated, making it look like one massive tooth. Luckily, her bottom teeth are much nicer. Her tongue is pretty nice as well, with some bumps and an interesting blue coloration. Her jaw membrane is also pretty nice. Overall, a fantastic sculpt and a pretty great paint job. Now, let's look at her articulation and action. Let's start at the tail. The base of the tail is on a ball joint and has an alright range of movement. Now let's go on to her legs. Her legs can rotate and her hips can pop out. Her ankles also swivel. Now let's go on to her arms. Her arms can rotate and her shoulders can come out. And for her final bit of articulation, both segments of her jaws can individually open, revealing her massive maw. Now, let's look at her actions. On her back, there is this button that when you push makes her roar. Sadly, her sound effects are from Spinosaurus and Indominus Rex. Also, her mouth doesn't open very wide, and unfortunately it doesn't close very well. For her next action, there's this little piece on her side that if you tap, reveals her ribs. Her ribs are pretty nicely detailed. You can actually flip them up, revealing her organs, and they look gnarly. They're even squishy. And that's her actions and articulation. Pretty cool. Now, let's do some comparisons. Here we have our brand new Allosaurus next to all the previous versions except for the one repaint. Here we have it next to the Gen 1 Fallen Kingdom Roarivores Allosaurus. Next we have the Gen 2 Battle at Big Rock Dual Attack Allosaurus. And for our final comparison, we have the Gen 3 Dino Escape Allosaurus with 3 levels of sound feature. Now do you see what I mean by large upgrade? She's a lot bigger. This actually really works as it makes her look more like an adult while the others are juveniles or subadults. But they all look fantastic together, and I'll be sure to get some photos of this Allo pack. And for our final comparison, we have the Allosaurus next to the meat-eating bull herself, the Control and Conquer Carnotaurus. This is definitely an awesome duo. They're both the perfect size to combat each other. This will be great to recreate their battle from Dominion. We'll be sure to get some photos of them fighting. Now here are my final thoughts. This is an amazing figure, definitely Mattel's best Allosaurus. She has a fantastic sculpt, pretty cool articulation, amazing actions, and a pretty nice paint job. I would 100% recommend her. Definitely Mattel's best Allosaurus. However, I may be biased as Allosaurus is my favorite dinosaur. Well, I guess that's it for now. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you didn't, hit the dislike and unsubscribe buttons. If you like toy photography or pictures of Cheddar the cat, Cheetah the dog, or Daisy the dog, follow me on Instagram. If you'd like your collection to be featured in a video, message me in the comments down below or hit me up on Instagram. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, and have fun collecting!